Hello, welcome to Swim Fans. This is your number one erotic thriller podcast for the week. I am your co-host, burning paintings that don't belong to me. I'm Josh McKenzie.
I'm ardently defending this film as heterosexual. I'm Craig Neeson.
I'm a gay woman now. I'm Jen Hocking.
Do you have a bit, Delaney? It's okay if you don't.
I am delicately fingering the text of a French novel about Greek mythology, Delaney Jordan.
Yes, this week on the pod, we are delighted to have video essayist and editor at Infinite Snow Productions, Delaney Jordan. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you for having me. I am, after so long, we've been talking over this, and we're finally here to talk about sapphic longing.
Right. Yeah, no, we definitely wanted to get you on ASAP because we've talked about man bad horror, your recent video. Most episodes it's come up actually since you've released it.
Are you serious?
I think it's mostly because Craig hates Alex Garland.
Yes, that's true. I think that's
the root cause. Your video, I think, propelled Craig into a new form of disdain for Alex Garland.
A new wave of resentment.
Yeah.
Personally, I think he's right.
Watching the video and spending the entire duration nodding like Nicholas oh my God, what's
Christian Bale and Kermit the Frog.
Jack Nicholson, the gif of Jack Nicholson nodding. I was just like, yeah, that's right, get it, Edgar.
Yeah, get his ass.
Get fucked. I do feel bad. I feel bad with Alex Garland because Annihilation was a very personal film for me. Like, it got the ball rolling on a lot of stuff, but he has spent the last 5 years after choosing to be personally annoying to me.
Yes.
And that is tragic.
Yeah.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah, I feel that you and Craig may have been destined to meet.
Yeah.
Craig has released to date the only solo episode of Swim Fans where Craig just talks about Annihilation for an hour.
Yeah. So it was love at first sight, and then my one true love continued to punch me in the gut afterwards.
Thank you, guys. I'm so appreciative hearing that. Josh did mention that it has come up, but I didn't know that it has literally been like the past couple episodes.
Yeah, you wouldn't. This might dazzle you, but there's a lot of episodes of Swim Fans that are about how insane men are.
I know, especially because a lot of the ones where I was like, well, this is vertical integration. You're like, yeah, that's episode 2. I was like, fuck, damn it.
Thank you so much for being on the show. This week, we are talking 2019 Celine Sciamma film, Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Just do it.
Okay, so if you've not seen Portrait of a Lady on Fire, this is a movie about Marianne. She is a painter. She works for her father, who's also a painter, and she has gone to one of those islands off the coast of France to paint the portrait of a young woman named Eloise. Eloise in the past has rejected all other painters because she refuses to pose for them, because she does not want the painting to be sent to her to-be husband in Milan. So Marianne's mission while on the island is to pretend to be Eloise's friend and paint her surreptitiously, to get the ball rolling on the whole marriage thing. So at first, Marianne is sort of just hanging around her, trying to sketch her in secret, sort of memorize her features so that she can, in the evening time, make this painting of her. So they proceed in this way for a while. At first, their relationship is sort of frosty and distant. Eloise has just lost her sister to suicide, so there's quite a distance between them. But Marianne is able to sort of get a likeness down. Marianne goes to Eloise's mother, and she's like, "All right, painting's done. So I'm ready to get the hell out of here." But I'm actually feeling a little bad, so I think that I should show Eloise first. So she reveals to Eloise that there was a sort of secret reason why she was here. It wasn't just to be her friend. And she shows her the painting, and Eloise just tears her a new one. She's like, dog shit painting. That's not even me. A flop L. Ratio on the painting. So Marianne, before she can show the mother, she destroys the painting, and the mother, is of course about to be quite mad at her. But Eloise is like, actually, you know what? I will sit for her. I will pose. She will capture the true me. And the mother character is like, all right, well, I guess that's fine. I'm leaving. I'll be back in, X amount of days. So the painting better be done when I get back. So now they have the place to themselves, them and Sophie, who is the maid who works at the house. Sort of the B plot here is that Sophie wants an abortion. She has recently, begun missing her periods, and to avoid, having the burden of a child, she and the women are sort of finding ways on the island to get the abortion. And as they're doing that, they're also doing the painting. So Marianne and Eloise are getting closer. Wouldn't you believe it? They begin to have lesbian sex. They fall in love with each other. Their relationship transforms from one of artist and subject to lovers. And this is, all well, sort of trying to get this painting done so that Marianne can essentially give her to somebody else. There is a moment where the three women go out to like a bonfire type deal with other women on the island. And there Marianne, maybe perhaps truly sees her for the first time as Eloise's dress catches fire. She's not injured, I don't think, but she does become, for a moment, the eponymous woman on fire. They realize that their relationship, although lovely, is about to end. So Marianne is sketching Eloise in like a locket that she can carry with her always. And Eloise is like, well, I have nothing to remember you by. So on page 28 of like the Bible that she carries with her, or the book or whatever it is, women used to carry one book for their entire lives once upon a time. So on page 28, Marianne sketches like a nude self-portrait of herself so that Eloise will always have something to remember her by. They have a bit of like a row where Marianne is like, by doing this portrait, I'm giving you to a man, which is, not... I'm very upset, and Eloise is like, oh, now that we've been together, you think that you own me, that you possess me in some way, whatever. So they have that sort of disagreement. And then, like, on the final day of Marianne being on the island with her, she before she leaves the house forever, before the last time that she sees Eloise in person, after she's completed the painting, it's approved, all this. Her last vision of Eloise is her in her wedding dress. The movie fast forwards a bit, and Marianne tells the audience that she saw Eloise 2 more times in her life. The first time being Eloise and her very young daughter in a painting at a gallery, and she saw in the painting that that she was holding her one book, and in the corner of the book it was open to page 28. So she truly did sort of honor that gift that Marianne had given to her. And then in the final scene of the movie, in what I think is a very striking scene, Marianne is at like an opera or a symphony, which is minorly referenced earlier that Eloise had never been to a symphony and orchestra. And so Marianne sees her from across the auditorium. Eloise does not see her. And the last shot of the movie is an extended shot of Eloise sort of experiencing the music. She runs through like a gamut of emotions, presumably remembering her time with Marianne. What did we think about Portrait of a Lady on Fire? And we'll have our guest go first. Delaney.
Yeah, let's get into it. I have not seen this film up till now. It was on the back shelf for a while, and I guess there's always a certain reputation that goes around of like the erotic lesbian art house film or whatever. And I am a bisexual woman. I am also like asexual, so sometimes I'm like, I don't know like where this is gonna be for me, but it turned out to be very for me, just because it's so much about the female gaze and like the female artist on subject relationship. It's got this lovely, this is gonna sound like such a silly term to use, but it's got this sort of apocalyptic feel to it. Like it feels like watching Revolutionary Girl Lieutenant in France. at some points in this film. Like, this isn't a real place.
Somehow more French than Utena.
It's somehow more French than Utena. It's like, this isn't a real place. Like, nothing exists here. It's this strange other world that only exists in, paintings from that era of, like, the people who were there who painted by the seaside, like women with their skirts billowing in the wind. And it just had that very strange, surreal quality that made those little, like, they speak to each other in observations about themselves, where it's like, your lips purse up when you get really annoyed, or you rub your hand when you're not sure, like you rub your hand against your head when you're unsure of what you want to say. And all I could think back to is there's one exchange in Baldur's Gate 3 with let me follow this thread here, because I will lose it if I don't pin it somewhere now. I like, there's a thread where when you talk to Astarion, I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge, I am replaying the game, because he's a vampire, he's like, well, you tell me, what do you see when you look at me? And you have options like, oh, I see the crinkles around your eyes when you smile. And if you tell him that, he'll be like, what are you fucking talking about? I'm not your doting grandmother. Like, pick something else. And I was like, that's the language that this movie speaks in. And it's the hottest thing in the world. And it's exciting and engrossing. And I had a much more engaging time with it than I ever expected to. What a wonderful surprise.
Yeah, I thought that this was fantastic. So I often do this thing when I'm a little too tired to put something in the recycling. I'll put it on the floor, and it'll annoy the fuck out of me until I come back around, and then I'll grab it and I'll put it in the recycling proper. I did that with this movie, with this episode. I was like, I'm throwing it out here. I'm throwing a Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Don't care if it really counts, but I need to watch it. It's been like a fucking billion years, and I've seen it on the fucking TV, and I know everyone likes it, and I want to see if I like it, and I do. I think this is a fantastic film. To me, the synergy of having a character that's like rendering the form of a woman, that's actively kind of drafting, drawing, thinking about, as she says, that there's rules and there's conventions, while we're watching a movie that's engaging in the rules and conventions to how you might shoot a subject. How you might follow them around the room or not follow them around the room, how you might light them or not light them. I think it's just an elegant film, and it's carried, to Delaney's point, it does feel like it exists in a world that is like perhaps kind of unreal. Like Bergman's persona feels like it might as well be happening on the fucking moon. When they encounter the other women at the bonfire, I'm like, there are other people on the island. It's like when Lost.
No, for
like,
real.
There's like suddenly a fucking polar bear, like in the second episode. It's like, what kind of island is this? So it feels very much like, in this way, like a stage play. I mean, because I would say like the majority of the runtime happens in the main character's room, and that's it. You have two actresses in a room. There's no big set pieces aside from seeing the incredible vista of the ocean and a rock, like a pretty rock that does an arch thing. But yeah, I mean, this movie is carried by its performers, and I think the dynamics between the two leads, and even the supporting actress, who I think is absolutely critical to the film, and I really am captivated by. The maid or whatever the hell the French call people that are subordinate to them, is incredible. I mean, to me, this film is kind of a knockout. I like it a lot, and I didn't know if I would, and I did.
I honestly didn't expect to ever watch this. I missed most of the hype, and I completely filed it away as probably being too French for my taste. It didn't really bother anytime I saw it on like HBO or whatever. Nor did I learn anything about it, so I didn't really know what it was about. I assumed a painter lady was mad, you know.
I can't do my art.
That's Craig Neeson in grad school.
Exactly. I'm having an existential crisis. I don't know where to put the blue in this painting.
Oh shit! My portrait of a lady. It's on fire.
Like it might as well have been that. At one point, a portrait of a lady does get set on fire in this, and you know what? I'm just gonna let it pass, even for how literal of an interpretation of the title that scene is. This movie is incredible. I've understood and generally liked Yearnathons before, but this one really did it for me. I feel like a lot of entries in this particular canon play a lot with like shorthand or ask you to make like a leap in time or something, but like not here. This felt like really paced perfectly. And then when it got to the moment where they actually do kiss, it was like, yes, because it's the only thing you could do in that moment, you know, like it's so cool. And I thought, because there's still like 45 minutes after that I was really kind of afraid, because like consummating the relationship is usually like the death of good yearning in a movie like this, but also just by being like completely doomed. And also telegraphing pretty clearly that they're completely doomed with like the opening scene and all the ghosts around. They managed to really kind of hold on to like the simmering tension. And this is not an erotic thriller by like any metric, like not even remotely. But it is a fabric movie. And so it's not unheard of for us to like, you know, talk about it here. And like the fabric's really good in this. The aged wood is very good in this. The sound of shoes on hardwood, fantastic. I want to replace all of my furniture with weathered crates. I want to stand on
I
a
actually
rocky.
see that for you.
I want to stand on a rocky shore and feel the sea breeze blow the heaviest dress in the world around my unshielded ankles. And
whoa,
also,
whoa now, Jen. Whoa now. Hang on. Hold the fuck on. Whoa now. Holy shit.
Sorry, got a little hot there.
You
but
put those things away.
But making art of your partner is really hot, and I think like the movie captures that really well. I almost wanted to say something about that last week on the Embrace of the Vampire episode, because there's a really hot photo scene in it. But I wasn't a gay woman yet, so I didn't really feel like it was my place to say anything. So, yeah, really liked it.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, to Jen's point here, I do, when we are bringing guests on the show and they're like, oh, I don't really watch erotic thrillers. I'm like, well, if it's sufficiently erotic or sufficiently thrilling, we've made bigger leaps in the past. So
we've talked about Sex House.
We talked about Sex House on the show. So there, the power of swim fans is that it's very pliable. No, but I thought this was great. Similarly to the other folks here, I also love yearning. It's my favorite thing to do. Top 5 favorite activities to do is yearning. I didn't see this until now as well. I think, you know, this came out like just before COVID, and I don't know what I was watching. Wasn't this? But I had a nice time. I thought the acting was really wonderful. And I do think that the French can lose a few years off of their moratorium on French filmmaking for this one. Celine Sciamma has gotten them some time served, for sure.
I'm turning screen time back on their iPads.
Yeah. You've unburdened some of your spiritual sins. It's beautiful.
A couple of you sort of touched on this already, but I think outside of like the wonderful just acting in the movie, I think something that is extremely difficult to do and something that is more successfully done in movies that are about like photography or filmmaking than it is like painting or sculpting or something where you're making something is integrating art making into the film. I think that's a dangerous game to play, because now you've got to worry about the art inside of your art, and if the art inside of your art is art enough to successfully carry your point through, I'm thinking of every movie we've ever seen where someone's a painter and they're the worst paintings you've ever seen in your life, and it ruins any shot where they're talking about the paintings.
Again, flesh tone.
Yeah,
or that
fucking flesh tone.
the movie where Viggo Mortensen is an artist and he lives in a loft with uncertain dimensions and just giant paintings of eyes. It's like, oh yeah,
Perfect
art.
murder.
That thing that everyone knows and recognizes, a big portrait of an eye.
So you really do have to be careful when you're making a movie about art making. But this knocks it out of the park. The movie realizes that yearning and like trying to capture the spirit of your lover in a painting is like the same thing, just one of those things made material. And so those things echo each other really successfully. The paintings themselves are nice enough where it doesn't take you out of the situation. And I understand that's like almost like a sin thought to have. But if it's like a bad painting and it's a movie about a painter, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
It's just
Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, that's really successful, and I think it's very difficult to execute. And not only did they do it well, but they did it so well that it like really carries the central message of the movie. I didn't talk about this in the plot synopsis, and I think we can talk about it more in a minute, but I am a huge Orpheus and Eurydice girly. I think about Orpheus and Eurydice more than is healthy for like an individual to think about the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. So like when that came up, I was gleeful. So that's really great. I think we can talk about how they use that as metaphor later, but that was cool. Delaney brought up something really interesting about like the ambiance of the island. That is, there is something sort of like sublime about that, because like you do have every shot of the ocean is like the choppiest storm you've ever seen. Like it's never like a calm day on the sea. Around them, it's always like really sort of like violent sea-wise, but then you've got these like sort of windswept plains, grassland type deal going on, and so it really does bring up that like sublime in like the painting sense of like the awe of nature around you, and it does make it feel like you're in like a little pocket of lesbianism. And the world outside is violent and cruel, but here on this island, where there is wine and giant like hawks of bread, there is like, you know, this sort of island of like love and peace and whatever, for as brief as it is. All really successful, really liked it. Not to do misogyny on the podcast. Why can't gay men do this? That's just, I'm going to bring it up again later. Gay men can't yearn. We've forgotten how to yearn.
As I've been quite clearly told for the past month, Josh, it is in fact misandry that you're doing. Why are you attacking men like this, Josh?
Well, I'm just like, I'm like, I don't want to take it away from the lesbians, but like, I remember yearning. How come no other gay guy remembers yearning? I'm very frustrated.
All gay men get to do is like loop the hand clench from Pride and Prejudice, but like on a 10-second track. So it's like, this is kind of the same thing if I do it for 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
That and suck each other off.
Well,
yeah, because it's always about the suck off.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, the suck off is the reward
You
for
need
the
to
yearning.
move slower to suck
So
each other
it's
off.
It's 2 hours of hand clench, and then you insert the porn parody of Pride and Prejudice, Pride and Prejuice dicks, and just slot that in, and then go back to the hand clenching.
Absolutely. And it's like, it's just that easy, fellas. Like, you can't do the suck off at 15 minutes in. It's just not going to work.
Homies are not allowed to paint homies anymore, and I fucking I hate it.
Yeah. The thing about men now is that nobody's smelling each other's shirts anymore. Like when you're alone with the homies' shirts, nobody's taking a sniff. And
Yeah, nobody's fingering the other person's armpit hole. It's atrocious out here. Simply
That is
no
one
longing.
That is one thing I was actually kind of surprised about the movie, is how like kind of like extremely not sexually explicit it is. There's like some scenes of nudity or whatever, but it's always like insanely like tastefully done. Mm-hmm. And normally I'm like, no, put a sex scene in, but here I thought it was like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Jen's like, somebody give head. What are we doing?
I can only imagine.
You know what
in
I
every
would have done in
single
this
cut-
situation?
Every single cut where they go from where intimacy starts to like an hour after the fact. I just kept imagining like a bunch of guys on a couch watching football who were like, whoa, no, come on. I don't give a shit. I don't need the erotica. I'm fine with the build up and the come down, you know? I was like, all right, let's fucking go.
I will say it was a stroke of filmic genius to equate the armpit to the pussy. That was so
correct answer.
That was a galaxy brain answer.
Yeah.
When they're like, I don't even know what they're doing. They're doing like armpit drugs. Like, what is it that they're doing? They're talking about how like it's like relaxing or something.
They're gonna fly. It makes time move slower, and it's like
I was like, is it like cannabis lotion? Like, what did they have weed in France then? Like, what's going on?
Who's dealing CBD oil in France?
I assumed they smoked it off camera. That was my assumption.
Maybe.
And then the armpit fingering was just like visual metaphor for what you're not seeing.
Well, I mean, it was exquisite because it was like, I don't know, because like you know, like
you have
said,
to be really down bad to think of armpit fingering, and I respect that.
But because there's almost something, I mean, not more explicit, obviously, but there's almost something like to be like as explicit as possible while also being extremely artful. It's just getting like your armpit railed. Okay. And I'm like, genius.
Me when I rub vape juice under my girlfriend's armpit in a fit of fashion.
It works great here because you can have like the visuals of like a hand working magic, right? But like you don't actually have to have like the sexual explicit like just vagina on display, right?
Yeah. You get like an elegant gesture that also, you know, like stands in for the sex act. Sorry, I googled it. Flying ointment is a hallucinogenic ointment said to have been used by witches in the practice of European witchcraft from at least as far back as the early modern period, when detailed recipes for such preparations were first recorded and when their usage spread to colonial North America. So
they were tripping on that hurricane island.
Exactly. They were choomed up.
Did it actually work, or is this some sort of like eye dosing situation?
So there is we could probably spend the whole fucking. So here's some of the breakdowns: extreme toxicity of active ingredients, body in coma and riding on beasts, alleged sexual element in application, possible opiate component. So
not good.
This is the kill shit. This is that hydroponic fucking armpit shit.
This is the dro for real. It's the witch dro.
It's two lesbians like, do you want to fly together? And then they just start huffing ether.
This is the crocodile of French at this time.
They unload a tube of glue into a paper bag and start huffing it.
Can you imagine if these classy French lesbians just started doing whippets in the middle of this?
And shit, you have an artist character. They could be like huffing the oil paint. They could be huffing the fucking like just whatever solvent she's using.
Turned up on linseed oil. Yeah, for sure.
Hang on, baby. I gotta metamorphose into Charlie Kelly before we can get back to coitus.
I don't want to go too much further because it is sort of the central metaphor of the movie about Orpheus and Eurydice. There is a scene in the movie where Marianne, Eloise, and Sophie are like reading the myth, and the women have like a disagreement about why Orpheus would turn around. Marianne is quite quick to judge him. She's like, loser, bitch. All he had to do is keep walking forward. Skill issue, no game, no bitches.
Plot hole,
period. And then Sophie is just aghast that he would ever turn around at all. But Eloise, very poignantly, is like, well, perhaps Eurydice asked him to turn around, like to sort of like let her go. To which Marianne has no real response to. But, you know, this sort of central metaphor does carry itself throughout the movie. There's a few scenes where Marianne sees premonitions, essentially, of Eloise in her wedding dress, culminating in sort of the last time that they see each other, where Eloise asks Marianne to turn around referencing her interpretation of what Eurydice said to Orpheus before that scene sort of cuts to black. Yeah, so I guess just an open forum about what you guys thought of like that sort of the metaphor as it applies to the movie, or I can just talk about it if you want.
You did seem to be the most moved by it, so
yes,
maybe
I am.
you should
Fantastic.
start.
So,
Josh, do I need
Great.
to look into booking Hades Town's tickets while you're here?
Yeah.
Do you need to see something? I will say that what I noticed with the Orpheus and Eurydice metaphor, and the thing that I've noticed with people who watch Hades Town, which is not a musical I've seen live yet, but obviously I know how it ends. But there is like this energy that they say it creates when you're retelling the story, where even like if you know that it's got to happen, you do wish, like, you know, you beg kind of the narrative. It's like, please let them get out, please let them get through. And I appreciate how even before you get to that point, the door is already closed, where you know it's not just like, oh, the debate between like, was it logical to look back, was it emotional, was it her plea for him to look back, like it doesn't matter, you look back or you don't. So there's much more of a fatalism, I guess, than you can ever really apply to Orpheus and Eurydice through a heterosexual lens, especially like as a period piece, where you're like, oh, but something's got to work out, right? Like something's gonna save this, right? Like I want deeply for this to go right this one time, and just the buildup of dread before you reach that point where she does have to turn back is like, you have never once believed in your life truly that this could happen, and like, if that's the case, then what would you do?
right. Yeah. So before I go too far, I just now learned that Hades Town is about Orpheus and Eurydice. I had
Really?
no interest, so I didn't even know what the plot was. I had zero interest, so I never even Googled it.
Josh,
It was
you
your
know it
portrait
now.
of a lady on fire.
So maybe it would be a good musical, actually. Yeah, no, but I mean, what I think is really, I mean, it's a story that I think is like really perfect in its simplicity, right? Because like it is just elegantly tragic. Like no matter what, sort of like what Delaney's saying, like Orpheus will turn around. And he will not be united with Eurydice, and that's sort of the poignancy of it. I think in like the most popular modern version of the myth, he turns around because he like doesn't fully believe that Eurydice is behind him because she's like a spirit or whatever, so he can't like hear her footsteps or whatever. I don't know. I think that's less interesting than the fact that he turns around, because like I do think that there is something, and you know, I mean, this is of course every person's individual like interest, right? But like if you are a person interested in the myth, then like you it would be interesting for any given person to give their best reason for why Orpheus would turn back, right? Like there's something sort of fractalizing about it that it can be sort of used like a lens for like any given thinker's ideas about love and devotion, for why them in that situation, them putting themselves in Orpheus' shoes, why they would then turn around despite knowing that it would be the end of it. So I think that's like really what I respond to, that it's the inevitability of, if you are truly devoted, if you truly do love somebody, then you must turn around. Like there's no simply don't turn around, because like how can you like really know that they're like how can you trust that they're there if you can't see it? This is the thing, okay? Like I think like the idea for me of like love and devotion is that like if Orpheus truly loves this woman enough to go to hell to bring her back, if he's devoted enough to sing a song that makes the hell guy Hades let her go, the hell man, to get Hades to let Eurydice go, And to me, it almost feels like I think in the myth, Hades like is genuinely moved by the song, but to me, it seems like he's giving him an impossible task because you're telling this man who loves this woman enough that he's going to go to hell to get her back. That like, okay, she's going to walk behind you, you're going to walk forward, and you mustn't turn around. And he knows that since he truly loves this woman, since he's truly devoted to her, there's no way he can't turn back. There's no way that he can't turn around because if you're devoted enough to take this quest, how can you not? Like that. So that's just what sort of gets me about it. And then I get caught in these loops, which is why I don't do weed and think about Orpheus and Eurydice because I'm just like because if the devotion is as powerful as it must be to bring someone out of perdition, you have to turn back. I don't know if that's interesting for anybody. That's just like me spiraling about the myth.
No, totally.
I like their he turned around because that's what the poet would do, not the lover. And he's so in love with the memory of her. Like I really like that interpretation, especially as it like kind of played out with the rest of the movie.
I will also make the observation that if a straight couple had done a scene where they literally sit down and read the myth of your Orpheus and Eurydice and then have a whole like literary debate about it, if this were a heterosexual film, I think I would want it dead in a hole. Like that is literally like the rom-com playbook where it's like Romeo and Juliet, they could never be together. I'm like, fuck off. No.
Yeah, I mean, you're given a painting in the beginning rendered by an idiot who was unable to get her face, unable to see or like hold an image of her. And I love the way that the camera kind of slowly navigates the painting, and it shows on the figure's left hand pearls, which the right hand is kind of like clutching, and it's like, oh, okay. So this is what this guy thinks about women, right? He wasn't able to actually apprehend her or see her, but he was able to kind of like sketch around his idea of like what a woman is. But this character is able to see her subject and hold her for like what she is, right? Like so, but like given, I think there's like a kind of, I'm reading this in a queer way. I'm queering my analysis of the film. Where like
and very brave of you.
It's so brave. So it's like at the same time that they're allowed to look at each other and like see each other for like the kind of full picture of what they are. They're trapped in the social coordinates that are going to tear them apart, right? Like in order to see fully and allow one to be seen in this way. To render the form that will, serve as a kind of like token to the husband or whatever the fuck. It's to apprehend is to see fully and to like love fully at the same time that it's like an acknowledgement or a kind of, like a fatalist, like, but these are the circumstances. These are the rules. So that means that, we do get to look upon each other, but that means parting at the same time.
Because to see fully and to like know fully in the way that Eloise demands that Marianne see her means turning around. It means that in order for you to reciprocate the love that she needs from Marianne has to turn around.
Yeah.
And be left with that haunting vision of her being given to somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this movie is like if De Palma yearned about how much looking it is.
Yeah, if De Palma yearned about this instead of what kind of gadget would more effectively kill a woman.
An even bigger drill.
He's too worried about getting to the suck off part.
Yeah, this is the fatal flaw with men yearning. It's always gotta be the suck off.
That's how he starts writing. He starts with the suck off, and then he writes his way to the suck off.
It's the road we took to get to the vagina bones. That's the thing as well. Like we were talking about the armpits and stuff, and the things they observe about their bodies are so not the like it does maybe the best job I think a film has done, like as a visual medium, explaining how the male gaze works, because it's like they almost wall off the parts of the body that many artists, when framing women, are like, what's the sexual component of a woman? Pussy? All right, what's the second one? Tits. It's like, all right, can like, there's a whole other rest of the body here. Like, she's got her finger, like, under the crease of her boob at one point, and it's not even like, oh, she's touching she's groping her breast. It's like, it's in the skin. Her finger is, like, in the belly button, you know? But it's such a great visual way, and it's such a great textual way to actually express the concept of the female gaze, because it's not like women never have sexual thoughts about each other, but there are, on top of the fact that reducing a woman's body to tits and vag is clearly reductive and, you know, doesn't exactly reflect the spectrum of gender, the binary of gender, it's also like there is less of a relationship, I think, between like a man seeing this alien concept of like, oh, not man body, this is woman body, and like the things that women are allowed to observe about each other, like we've said, where you are permitted to, like, oh, you smile, you laugh interestingly, and that's something you get to share. Like, you get to have that relationship with other women, whereas men are obviously scared off from having those kinds of things where, as a come on, you're like, yeah, you fuck with your fingernails a lot when you talk, and I think it's sexy. Do you want a bone? you want to do it?
Yeah.
Which
well,
you could use more of. I think that Josh is on the right track. You need more of two guys sitting across an empty room full of covered up furniture and shit. We're like, you know, you keep scratching your sideburn, and for some reason, I can't fucking stop thinking about it.
Yeah. But to be clear, I don't want any reduction in the level of pornography that's coming out. All right, I just want more art. So, like, I want to have it all.
Josh wants to yearn
pornography.
More.
Yeah, you want pornography, but beforehand you want 25 to 35 minutes of them walking along the shore of a beach, worried about if the other one is going to throw themselves in.
Is that so much to ask? But like to Delaney's point, like even more broadly speaking, there's this idea that. You know, in sort of the sort of like the Orphean way, when you look, what you're looking at looks back. Like there's this scene where Marianne is describing to Eloise all of the actions that she does because she's an artist. All right, her job is looking. As artists, all of our job is looking and seeing and perceiving. And as she's describing to Eloise all the little tricks that she does, Eloise is like, okay, Uno reverse, bitch. Here's all the things that you do because I'm also looking at you when you're looking at me. And so to look is also to be seen, which Marianne is, you know, clearly uncomfortable with as the person who does the looking. And that's awesome because, like, if you look, you are also seen. Eurydice was looking at Orpheus as much as Orpheus wanted to look at her.
Josh is in front of his Pepe Sylvia board right now, and it is so on point.
No idea.
It's so on point right now, but it doesn't escape me. Well, I've seen a lot. First things first, is it crazy to state that, like, in the canon of film, there's not a lot of narratives that exist about male artists in observation of a male subject matter, like any art form, but like broadly, there's not a lot of those that immediately come to mind. But I have seen some plays that kind of fall into that category. One was Red, which is about Rothko and like his process working like with his assistant or whatnot. And the other one was called The Motive and the Cue, which was like John Gielgud directing Richard Burton in Hamlet, I think. And when you get plays like those, it's all about like, oh, the craft and the importance of the craft and like the not like there's not really, when the relationships between male characters are there, it's more about how they differ in their approach to the craft and how, like, you know, youth and like experience and practitionerhood. It's all very sterile, and they never leave the door open. Where like, why are you thinking so much about how another man does art? Like, what's the
Kind of zesty, man. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, like what's the observation here? And again, it's like those permissions, I suppose, where we only ever see men in this film when they're dumping her off on the island, like a mail order. And then when they come to take the work away.
Yeah. Well, to the point, I mean, like, I remember that shot where the guy is there to pick up the painting, and like his appearance in the movie is like jarring.
It's scary.
I remember being like shocked to see a man like in the residence there because even when she's rowing the boat, like you don't really get like any like steady shots of the men's faces. You just know that they're like, lowercase m men who are, escorting her across the sea. So to like have the camera like sit and he's like in the middle frame and he's looking at the camera, I'm like, who's that guy?
Yeah, like
that's not who I expected.
It really is jump scare. I mean, it's shot wide too, and it's like it's very destabilizing. And sorry, the only time my brain went into a stupid rabbit hole, I'm like, this is exactly what the women of the Gerudo village see when Link tries to sneak in the puzzle. It's like you don't belong here, dude. This is did you not see the women only on the fucking sign outside? But yeah, that intrusion. I mean, he really does. He's a herald of doom. It's like a herald of the end. It's frightening. Like at first it's like, who is this person? And then it's like, oh shit, it's a man. And then it's like, oh shit, this is the end. Like the man, the entrance of the man signals that this is all about to collapse. And that hugging at the end, where it's like, the artist hugs the mother, and then hugs her lover, and like, essentially just like fucking runs out. The whole world has shattered because of the intrusion of this, at once like lowercase m man, but like also like uppercase, like symbolic of all other men, who really don't get to exist in the film except as something that's going to like rend, this Milanese man, which I was picturing the fucking the most beta ass bitch that Milan could offer, but like he's serving as like this idea or this kind of like pull, that's rending and like it can't be stopped. So like it is like when death appears at the end of the seventh seal and everyone starts crying. It's like we knew this was coming, but still sucks,
Yeah. There. This is a weird metaphor, so please follow me. Carlos, friend of the show, once called playing Blanca in a Street Fighter as taking as much as you can without getting caught. And there's a moment right at, when they're saying goodbye in the house right before she runs out, she hugs the mother. And then when she approaches her lover, she just starts like nuzzling her and smelling her as fast as possible, then bolts out of the room. That was my first thought was, just like get in there, get out.
A drive-by.
A scent heist.
Yeah.
That shot doesn't even finish. Like it gives a millisecond of them ripping away. Like there's none of like, oh well, let's linger back. That shot doesn't even get to be complete. You're gone.
Yeah.
You're gone before it's even to the next cut,
Yeah. Because it's so intense for like half a second.
Mm-hmm.
Not to talk about Orpheus and Eurydice again.
just let it rip.
Well, I
let
just
it rip, Josh.
Well, just before the episode ends, I just want to, because like there's more than one like allusion to it, like even before they talk about it in the movie. Like I think because it's so specific in how they do this, that before Marianne meets Eloise, Eloise is like purposefully not facing her. She's wearing like this hood or whatever, and she just sort of like begins to walk with Marianne like purposefully staying sort of behind her in the manner that they are in the myth. And there's this sort of moment before, again, we've even seen Eloise's face where she just makes like a break for it. And you're like, oh, cool, she's going to like just kill herself instantly. Where she just begins like running towards the cliff, and Marianne has to like run to keep up with her, and it's not until she turns around that like the movie starts. Because like every shot before then is sort of it's texture, it's like it's mood, it's setting the place, it's letting us know she's a painter, that kind of thing. But like until Eloise like turns around, as one does, there is no like. So like it's almost like an inversion of Orpheus and Orpheus and Eurydice to like start the movie. Is that like by her looking, in fact, it like sort of places her, only to have the forward version of the myth sort of take us out. That's all I wanted to say. I was like, damn, they did a reverse Orpheus on us right at the start.
Reverse Orpheus sounds like an absolutely bonkers sex position.
Yeah, you gotta be
Reverse
careful
Orpheus
with that one.
is like performance artists going at it in the bedroom.
Yeah, trying to win a gold medal in doing sex.
We are not acknowledging one another, but this is to demonstrate our great passion. While we are naked in our bodies, but not making eye contact. But I think that's really a good point, because honestly, it feels at times like as much like we've said, like as much as Marianne is observing Eloise is also observing like the ghostly spirit of her in her bridal garb that shows up like the fucking white horse in Twin Peaks to haunt Marianne across the movie. The way they shoot, like it looks completely unlike anything else in the film. It looks like the haunted mansion effects that they do. Pepper's Ghost to.
Oh yeah, totally.
It really does.
And it's so surreal, but there's so many different ways Eloise is being seen, where it's the male painter, it's Marianne trying to play by the rule book, and then later on when you see the portrait of her with her daughter, where it's so much like cleaner and way more similar to the portrait that Marianne would have originally painted. And it's something that, like, I don't know how universal it is. I tend to notice it a lot in neurodivergent folks, but I think everyone's got a seed of it somewhere, where if someone offers you the chance to see how they see you, it's one of the most fascinating things you can possibly accept. Is to the point where you would like, right, I give up, I'll get married, give me 5 days, I'm gonna learn a lot of shit about myself. And it's
well, because
it's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, because at least for me, like the idea is like potentially terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, what if the way everyone else sees me isn't a way that like I want to be seen? You know what I mean? So like, there's like a real intimacy in that.
But because we're not like
in a way that's really terrifying.
Yeah, but because we're not we're not stuck in society. Because we live outside of time. A24 film coming out in 2024. Time doesn't exist. Like 5 days feels like a month of time. For them to learn about one another.
My last note, and like I don't know if this is helpful or like even enough information to go on because it's Vivaldi, which is in like fucking everything. Do you people know of a movie where this exact song, so this movement of Summer by Vivaldi, it's like Flight of Insects or whatever, is used in another movie where it's like a big burst of sound and it like transitions from one scene to another? Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's happened quite a bit. I feel like that's a pretty I don't want to say it's a trope, but if you're gearing up for something like I hesitate to say it'd be in like a Saltburn kind of thing, where it's like shot of the nice place, shot of the mansion, like sharp shots.
Yeah.
I've seen that
Yeah.
quite
Well,
frequently.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was like a movie I saw somewhat recently, and I'm like, was it? Did Yorgos do that? It was like it was driving me nuts because I was definitely trying to remember one movie in particular, and yeah, because it's Vivaldi who's in fucking everything. Of course, I couldn't figure it out. I was hoping one of you would know the strange reference I have somewhere in my brain.
No, it's not that strange. It's just I can't give it to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think it's just been used too much.
It's over. I'm cooked.
I'm
It's
sorry.
been haunting me. It's been haunting me since I saw it.
Josh, I'm giving
Really?
you the gift of me understanding that you need this resolved in your heart, even if I can't resolve it for you.
When I want everyone to know that when I was pulling up the Wikipedia page, so I have a spine of a plot synopsis to refer to. The AI Google answer was like, "Is Portrait of a Lady on Fire LGBT?" Question mark. Like, so a lot
Hell
of people
yeah,
are googling
awesome.
googling how LGBT it is.
Is a portrait of a lady who is on fire inherently gay? One can only ask.
Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about is I thought the obviously the dress on fire is in it, but like the painting at the beginning of it, I kind of thought there would be more of the imagery of in that painting. This isn't a complaint, by the way. Just something that surprised me would be like in the rest of the movie as well, because it's very different than like most of the stuff that you see her paint. It's like more of like almost like a landscape with a woman walking away, which recurring themes. Hey, on literally on fire, and someone does get literally lit on fire, but it doesn't. It's not like that the moment recreated, but it's a good digestion of the stuff that happened.
No, you're so right. I got a dose of that and I wanted more, and then the rest of the film it was withheld from me. And when they did set that lady on fire.
Yeah, how do I say this? I didn't want her more on fire. Okay, like I didn't want her to be injured.
Unlike the rest
don't
of you
want her to burn
misogynists,
alive.
I don't like seeing women on fire.
But I did kind of want her more on fire. You know what I mean?
I thought she would be more on fire. I didn't think she would just self-immolate at the end of the movie or something. I think that would be a little too literal, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't have
Yeah.
hated seeing more of the portrait of the lady on fire, as was demonstrated to me within the first 4 minutes of the film. And I was like, oh shit, I hope I get to see more of this portrait. That'd be pretty rad.
I would have liked to get just a little bit more detail on that, but
I do love that sequence of them looking at each other from across the fire, because the fire is doing that that air refraction thing, where it's like it's like distorting and kind of waving the figure around, and then like she passes around the fire, and then we finally see her clearly, and she is carrying the fire with her. But there's an interesting again that kind of like. This is what a lens does when you look at a character, versus like this is what a painting. This is what it looks like when you're, like that little bit of like distortion. I think is like really sells the moment of them, looking at each other across the fire. It's that's a good fucking scene. And like in the whole thing is it's women together. And it's never really explained, but we can like kind of logically follow that they all sing in unison, and they're doing drugs. So there's a kind of like witchcrafty element to it, or kind of women together. And I think this like it kind of plays out. I think more in the what's the like the handmaidens, like what's her name? Her little
Sophie.
Like,
Sophie.
Yeah, like Sophie. I think Sophie's really like emblematic of like the laboring body at this point in time, where she isn't ready to have a child, and has they're going through like all the kind of ideas of what would abort a child, which is like doing suicides back and forth on the beach. between two lovers hanging from the ceiling, which is like the most interesting and like comical I think the film ever gets, especially when like towards the end, like it's clear that she's like fallen and knocked the stool down. Yeah, but that the abortion sequence, the main character kind of refusing to look and then being encouraged to look, the way that like women are caring for women, and like receiving an abortion, and like it's like a big deal and it's serious, but like there's also that baby, the baby that's like there's like several children actually on that bed, while she's like actively having some kind of abortion procedure done on her, and it's like the most beautiful, tender moment of this like child. It's like it's interesting. It kind of frames it not as like the destruction of life or like something like I mean it's heavy and it's not pleasant. I mean the movie like takes strides to show us that, but there's something about the being present with that child that's very curious about her face. That's something that like I don't know. I don't feel like we see a lot as audiences. Like and an abortion is usually used as like a character's like horrible backstory. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Or like it's never something that's full of like tenderness and care, and like solidarity. Like solidarity between people. I don't know. There's something really. I think like Sophie is a really fascinating like character, even though like her existence, of course, is like secondary to that of the love. But I think it sustains like the idea of like a young woman alive in this world in the film. That like helps like I don't know add another kind of like prismatic layer to it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, especially with the binary of women-only spaces that are being presented to us, because they do mention quite a bit at the outset of the film where it's like, oh, Heloise is from a convent, so like most of her socialization, because she was never going to get married, and it seems it was probably just easier to send her there, would be in this very religious institution, which she doesn't seem to have hated. It was like, well, there's not music there. Marianne didn't like it, apparently, but Heloise is like, well, we were all equal, and that was fine. And then you go to the
Right.
other side of it, which is this more arcane, witchy, sect of women who live on this island without any visible men, who are taking care of one another, and this like Craig was saying, the abortion scene is so much more, I suppose, kind. Like the baby
Yeah.
holding her hand is like almost a literal act of allowing her to forgive herself or be comfortable with the choice that she's making, like as it like to refute the idea that she's destroying a life.
Right.
Yeah,
But
that's a good point.
but like it, and I suppose that it does give credence to that moment where Marianne is like very briefly like, well, yeah, like I want you to turn this down. Like I can't realistically ask you to do it, but they've been living and making this kind of horrible house. Like the house has awful fucking vibes, but like slowly it gains color. It stops being so haunted. Like the whole
Yeah.
scene where they've put flowers on it and they're all sat at the table together and they're equal, and they kind of get the best of the convent versus the best of the witches, so to speak. It's like, this is what I want. This is it.
Yeah, I have questions for the women on the podcast and on the listeners. Are you often standing in circles doing a cappella?
Constantly.
Fantastic. So that was the answer I was hoping for.
I will say that women do love an impromptu showtime. At one point, at a poker game I was at recently, we did have two of the girls rush off mid-poker game to put on a live performance of Barbie, Princess and the Pauper for an unsuspecting male friend who had never seen the film. So the spirit of the moment is carried with us throughout time.
Women are so wonderful.
I'm taking note. Right beneath my note, Goody Proctor has been reading books. I'm writing. Women have been standing around a fire and chanting together.
Wouldn't you know it? A Goody Proctor is doing barbershop quartets by herself.
That'd be fucking great. Like, it's not like I danced with Abigail Williams in the fucking moonlight or whatever. It's like, no, Goody Proctor was doing show tunes in the fucking bathtub.
Goody Proctor's a cappella group cover of Gravity by Sarah Bareilles.
That's how I knew she made covenant with the devil.
Do we have any final thoughts on Portrait of a Lady on Fire?
I loved the last shot so goddamn much. The performance is incredible. The like what it means for these two characters is so beautiful. And best of all, it gave me the exact feeling of seeing someone on Spotify listen to a song I recommended them.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I liked this quite a bit. I gave this on Letterboxd. I gave this 4 stars. I'm gonna go up to 4.5. Pretty good.
Solid 4 for me. I love this movie.
5 for me. Loved it a lot.
I'm at 4.5, but it's closer to a 5 than a 4. So I'll see where I land once I post.
4.75.
Well, on one hand, I would sort of love if they let me do quarter stars. On the other hand, I don't need that level of granularity. I will go insane.
No, you don't.
Like
You don't need that.
I will go insane.
Absolutely zero people need that.
Do you know how many more fucking granular arguments could we possibly get into if we started having like, oh, it's a 3/4 of a star on top of 2 stars? Like we already rinsed our friend Steve for daring to give Singing in the Rain like a 3.5. So we don't need more.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Imagine the Letterboxd profiles that are already like, well, 3.5 means I liked it, but 3 stars means I liked it. You know, and like they're explaining what their star ratings mean as if it's not what the purpose of the star rating is.
I love when Letterboxd users are like, okay, first things first, here's my metric. I'm like, sister, I love that for you. That could never be me. My ratings are vibes based.
Yeah,
it is full. It is fully my mood at any given hour.
Like those people that are like, I don't give out many 5 stars. Like, fuck that. If it's good enough, it's 5 stars.
Yeah,
why
make
are
a
you
good
being
movie and it gets a
precious
5
about
stars.
this? Yeah.
No, if you could do quarter stars, then like some guy with a more famous and successful film podcast than ours would get like his skull caved in at the New Beverly by some other guy who rated it like a quarter star lower.
Doug Loves Movies dies at our hand.
Yes, Delaney, thank you so much for coming on the show. Do you have anything you'd like to plug for the listeners, and where can they find you?
I don't know. It sounds like you've been plugging me enough for the past like 2 weeks. No, I do appreciate you guys having me on. This has been so much fun, and I have now finally seen Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which absolutely whips. I am Infinite Snow on Blue Sky, Infinite Snow Productions on YouTube. I'm still technically on Twitter at Delaney Jordan, but like I'm trying, man. I also have a Patreon, also at Infinite Snow. We do monthly movie nights. We have a Discord chat. And then you also get a little bonus compilation of all of the good goofs and bits from our stream. This month it's going to be Don Bluth's Anastasia, which was voted by the people. This was the people's choice, which naturally means it's the one that everybody likes. So that's about where I'm at.
Have you seen anything recently that you'd like to either raise up or shame?
What, like film-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a movie you unusually liked or hated that you saw recently?
Something you had a thought about, I guess.
Ooh, that's a very good point. I did watch Sinners, obviously. We have all had to. And it did, in fact, rip, and I would have been irate if I had missed it in theaters. And obviously, like, I think most people who watch this show, you'll have seen it by now. Go watch it again. On the other hand, I rewatched Pocahontas to reaffirm that it is a spiritually evil film, and, you know, my theory held water. It's still really weird and bad. So that's the binary of Delaney's film catalog right now.
Hell
Wonderful. Yes, thank you again for coming on the show. You can find the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. So that would be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on YouTube. You can, wherever you get them, you should subscribe, perhaps rate, review, comment. It's been a minute since we've had a question. I need the question askers to lock the fuck back in. I'm no longer asking, I'm demanding. Thank you. Yes, so do all
you
those things.
cannot.
Thank you.
It's fine. It's fine if you don't want to. We appreciate that you did ask a question.
Do it again.
Disregard
Questions are
Josh. You don't feel zero pressure to do this for the true record. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm here as a non-affiliate saying it's not okay. You need to start fucking asking questions.
I'm honestly
lock the
flattered
fuck
you're
in.
even listening to the outro.
You can also find the show on social medias. That would be Blue Sky, Instagram, Letterboxd. That's User Swim Fans Pod. Give us a follow over there. I am on all those same joints. User Amons, AMONNS. I also just saw Sinners. I saw it last Tuesday. I liked it. Sorry to Craig Neeson. I thought it was fine. I actually kind of liked it more before it became a vampire movie, if I'm honest with you. Like, the vampire stuff was fine. And it was gnarly enough. But I sort of liked it when it was just like a period piece with two very different but equally hot Michael B. Jordans. Who I've always been like neutral positive on, but now I'm like in love with him because he's both Smoke and Stack are hot in their own way, and that's really special. Jen, where can they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Diatron5 and on Letterboxd Diatron. Recently, Vu Pinette and I watched the movie Parents together, the one with Randy Quaid. I loved it way more than I thought I would. I saw the video in like the rental places growing up, like everywhere. It's a really recognizable cover. It looks like campy as hell, and it's actually like kind of weirdly more upsetting than you think it's gonna be. Like it actually kind of goes to some like it's like a little more fucked up than I thought it was going to be, and some of that is that it's about cannibalism, and it's just a big like fuck thing for me. But it was way it was smarter than I thought it was going to be. And I highly recommend that. Craig.
You can find me at Craig Neeson on Instagram and Letterboxd, craigneeson.com. I just saw Happy End, one word. It is a film, a Japanese film by, Neo Sora, who's we discovered last night is Ruichi Sakamoto's son.
Word?
Yeah. It is amazing. It is a fucking banger. Thanks to Jen for getting me tickets to the film, and I was able to use those tickets to watch it last night in the comfort of my home. I think everyone should search out Happy End 2024. Japanese teenagers living under like not super ideal circumstances and like living life and loving music and trying to navigate interpersonal relationships and like rising fascism. It's delightful. It is really, really one of the most fantastic films I've seen in a very long time. It's a banger. It's a certified banger.
I might take advantage of my tickets this evening.
Yes, you should. You should.
Great. All right. Well, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.